Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Arsenal have contacted Juventus for the information on Federico Chiesa. We know that Chiesa is not going to stay at Juve this summer, and therefore Arsenal have asked for information on that deal. We'll be talking about that, but also exclusively from Fabrizio Romano, we have a bid for Reiss Nelson, but it is not from West Ham. We expected West Ham to advance on with Reiss Nelson, but they are still taking their time. Leicester City are now in talks to sign Reiss Nelson from Arsenal. They have offered to buy him on loan with an obligation to buy. Talks are ongoing. We'll talk about Nketiah because the most important part of that story is that Charles White says Gyokeres is the player that is going to replace Nketiah at Arsenal. We'll also talk about a few others like Osimhen. Dimasio saying that the striker market is not yet starting. It will start a little bit later on, and you'll see the likes of Gyokeres involved, the likes of Osimhen involved, the likes of Nketiah involved, and a couple of other strikers as well. So Dimasio says that the striker market is not yet open. It is going to start, and it's going to be absolutely interesting. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about Federico Chiesa. Yeah, I know you want Nico Williams, but Williams is a difficult one. So what are we thinking about Chiesa coming in as a backup for Saka, but also potentially a player who can play on the left-hand side as well? And then I also want your thoughts on Reiss Nelson going to Leicester City on loan with an obligation. Should we accept a loan, or should we be asking for money straight up? Where should we start? Let's start off with the update on Federico Chiesa because it's coming in and it's being confirmed now that Arsenal have asked for information on Federico Chiesa as one of the wingers that we are looking at this summer. And I remember saying this three weeks ago when Juve came out through Fabrizio and they said we are not going to give Federico Chiesa. They communicated that information to the player, and the player is now free to find a new club. Now, Chiesa doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. A couple of offers from there, but he doesn't want to go there. He wants to stay in Europe. A couple of clubs must be interested, although I don't have a lot of information on which other clubs are interested. But I thought Chelsea would be there. I thought PSG might be there as well. But there are not so many clubs that are really trying to sign Chiesa ever since you've said we are not going to keep him, we are actually going to sell him. So today, stories are coming out confirming that Arsenal are looking at Federico Chiesa as one of the players they would love to sign this summer. Personally, I don't have a problem with this one. I think Chiesa would be a good buy. He would be a bargain, first and foremost. I look at him as an Alexis Sanchez kind of player. The kind of signing we got when we signed Alexis Sanchez. A player that is in his prime. He's looking to turn his career around. And I think Chiesa's talent, wherever he goes, he will actually star. Wherever wherever he goes to, whether he goes to Arsenal or he goes to West Ham or he goes to Newcastle, he will become a star and he will become an important player for them. But for me, this is why I want Chiesa. At the moment, I don't think Chiesa is at that level where he comes in and you expect him to play every single week. And I think you need such a kind of player on the right-hand side alongside Saka. A player that is capable enough, like a little bit like Leandro Trossard, but you're not going to have pressure to play him every single day. Now, in the future, that could change because the difference between Trossard and Chiesa, Trossard is in the evening days of his career. Chiesa is in his prime. But Chiesa, of course, with those injuries that have happened in his life, and then, the move to Juve didn't work out as he would have wanted. The new manager in Thiago Motta is chasing him out. Arsenal could have a massive opportunity here. And we're talking about a deal that could cost Arsenal less than 30 million euros. That is exactly what you want. You want a player as cheap as Trossard. I think Trossard cost us around 27 million. Chiesa could also be around 27 million as his contract is running down. Juve are willing to sell. They're not willing to keep him. So he's cheap. He's in his prime. He can add lots of value, can compete with Saka, or can even out-compete Saka in terms of scoring goals and also assisting. I think he's what we need. I really, really think he's what we need. Because when I think about the other wingers, Williams, we've come to terms with Williams, right? He's not joining Arsenal this summer. So Williams is not joining Arsenal this summer. Pedro Neto is massively injury prone. Yes, he's good. Maybe on his best day, we can agree that he's one of the best wingers in the world, but he is massively injury prone. So for me, Chiesa is such a very, very good option. If Arsenal can solidify this, if Arsenal can, consolidate their interest in this deal, it's even an easy deal that you can go out there and do. Now, Dimasio has told us that the striker market around Europe has actually not started. The striker market, in this transfer summer has not started at any point in time, and we are about to see, we are about to witness greatness in terms of strikers moving. So he's talked about Osimhen, and he said Victor Osimhen does not want to go to Saudi Arabia, while other offers for the player have been lower than Napoli's demands. It is worth paying attention to the Premier League. It is possible that Arsenal could present an offer sooner or later for Victor Osimhen. I agree with Dimasio, right? Because in that article, he says that the striker market is going to be exciting. It hasn't started yet, and we expect some interesting moves. Maybe Osimhen on the move, Gyökeres on the move, Nketiah on the move. We could see Jonathan David from Lille maybe to Newcastle. I've seen that, or maybe to West Ham as well. I've seen that. I think it can't be that boring. I think we will see movement in terms of strikers. We have seen some movements. Morata going to AC Milan, and then Artem Dovbyk replacing him at Atletico Madrid. Yeah, we've seen some movement, but I don't think we've seen the kind of movement that we expected. Ivan Toney, nothing yet. Gyokeres, nothing yet. Osimhen, nothing yet. Jonathan David, nothing yet. Nketiah, nothing yet. I think we are going to see maybe a week or two, or even three possibly, where it's just about strikers, right? Strikers moving, and there will be a domino effect, like Charles Watts says about Eddie Nketiah. We'll talk about Eddie and then Gyokeres. But there will be a domino effect on the market where you see a player like Osimhen move to, let's say to PSG, and then a player Romelu Lukaku moves to Napoli to replace Osimhen, and then you'll see Victor Gyokeres move to Arsenal because Eddie Nketiah is moving from Arsenal to Marseille, and of course Aubameyang moved from Marseille to the Saudi Arabian Pro League. So there will be kind of a domino effect on the striker market. That much we understand, but the links with Osimhen, that Arsenal possibly could make an offer sooner or later. I'm not going to believe this for now. And I pray and I hope that you don't believe this for now. And the reason as why we shouldn't believe this for now is a more reliable source closer to Arsenal, in Charles' words, has actually said that Arsenal are looking at Gyokeres as the player they want to replace Eddie Nketiah. It is not Victor Osimhen. And I think that the Victor Osimhen, ship at Arsenal has sailed on a little bit. I don't think Arsenal are still there. I don't think Arsenal are still waiting for that price to come down, because even if it comes down, it can't come down below what Gyokeres is going to cost. Because Gyokeres could cost us 65. The minimum you're going to pay for Osimhen is like 80, 85. So I don't see Arsenal going back for Osimhen, but that story worth talking about from Gianluca Dimasio. Now, the Nketiah situation is another one that we've got to talk about, and mainly because the Nketiah situation involves Victor Gyokeres. So this is what Charles Watts has said today. Marseille definitely want Nketiah. I can't say if personal terms have been agreed for sure, but from a club-to-club transfer viewpoint, it isn't close to being done yet. Keep an eye on Gyokeres also. There are many rumors circulating, especially in France. He's Arsenal's main candidate to replace Edouard Nketiah. That is according to Josh Watts. Big sources he's got from from his experience with goal.com. Does he still work with Goal? I think he still does work with Goal, but now I can say for sure he's working with Court of Side, and he's one of the journalists. I think him, Romano, just forgotten the other one, that are working on Court of Side's daily briefing, right? Daily brief, I think it's called the daily brief. Now, Nketiah, for me, the Eddie Nketiah deal raises one question. Why are clubs really trying to take up players on loan, right, other than paying money? No one wants to pay Arsenal money. Everyone wants to take our players on loan and then pay later. I don't like that. But I feel like it's a very good deal for him to go to Olympique Marseille in Arsenal's viewpoint. If it opens up space for Gyokeres, let's do it. If it gives us funds and resources to sign Victor Gyokeres, yes, let's go and do it. It's a very good deal. And for me, I think it's closer. It's closer than we think. I'm not saying Charles Watts is lying. I'm saying I won't be surprised if this week is the last week we have Nketiah as our player. I won't be surprised. Again, Arsenal could delay the transfers because some of our players are not back, and then we might want to use Nketiah throughout the summer, throughout pre-season. We might want to use Reece Nelson throughout pre-season, and we might want to use maybe ESR if he's to leave throughout pre-season. And actually on ESR, Charles Watts also gave us an update yesterday, and he said Arsenal are not really 100% convinced about selling ESR. They'll prefer to keep, but it's going to be about the player's desire to stay or leave that's actually going to determine this deal. So Gyokeres is the replacement for Nketiah. It's either I'm smoking some pipe that is too good, or the Arsenal world has changed dramatically and drastically. In what world is Victor Gyokeres a replacement for Nketiah? In what world? I want you to remember the Arsenal that we know. In what Arsenal world did we ever think about that one day we would replace Nketiah with a guy that scored 58 goals in one season last campaign? It's purely insane. But I don't think that Gyokeres comes in to replace Nketiah. I think Gyokeres would come in as the center forward. Kai Havertz would go back into his midfield duties, and Gabriel Jesus would be the backup for Saka maybe, and the backup for Victor Gyokeres. I think it would work in that way. But either way, I'm happy to have Victor Gyokeres come into the side. Now, we received another exclusive today, and that exclusive is from Fabrizio Romano, who confirms that Leicester City have opened talks with Arsenal for Reece Nelson. A loan deal with an obligation to buy is being discussed. Talks over financial terms with Arsenal are taking place. Leicester confident they can persuade Nelson if the clubs come to terms, as he previously worked with Steve Cooper. These guys are going to get relegated. So I'm sorry about that. Again, no one wants to pay us money like ready cash. Maybe that changes starting next summer. We will get cash starting next summer. The problem with Arsenal players right now is many clubs are looking at their wages and they're saying this is too much. This is crazy, guys, right? And I understand. But one thing I want to say is for Reece Nelson, if Leicester City are taking him on loan with an obligation and they're willing to pay up to 20 million or 15 million, maybe, is 15 more fair for Reece Nelson? 15 is fair. So up to 15 million for Reece Nelson, that's a good deal. I mean, I've talked about this before. When you have these guys that you're not planning to use as manager, you're not planning to use readily, and you give them 100,000 a week, and you know very well that these are players that Barcelona will never sign, Atletico Madrid will never sign, clubs with a big salary, base will never sign. What are you doing? What were we thinking? How did we give Nketiah, Reece Nelson, Ramsdale all that big wage? How did we give them those wages? Now clubs are really want them. I think West Ham are genuinely interested in Reece Nelson, but that salary. I think clubs are genuinely interested in Nketiah, but that salary. It's big. It's huge. And I think Arsenal are lucky that we have two clubs that are locked in talks with us to actually go and sign both Eddie and Reece Nelson. So Leicester are saying they want to give us a loan plus an obligation. I don't have a problem with that because the difference between cash right now and the obligation is cash right now, you get the cash right now. As simple as that. The obligation means that you get the money at the set time when the two clubs have agreed that the obligation starts working. And that's going to be next summer. If Arsenal are financially in a good place this summer and last summer, go and do it. I mean, that means that next summer will start by Arsenal making money rather than losing money. Imagine next summer, Arsenal receive 12 million from Sevilla for Albert Lokonga. Then we receive maybe 25 million for Nketiah. That is without doing any work, by the way, next summer. And then we receive around 20 million for Reece Nelson. All that money is coming from obligations to buy. And maybe Ramsdale is also going to live under the same conditions. And then we receive another 20 million for Ramsdale. Arsenal could receive about 80 million next summer. Is it 80? About 80 and even above, right? Arsenal could receive about 80 million next summer by negotiating deals this summer. So I don't have a problem with that. And also this summer, I don't think Arsenal are looking to sign very expensive players that we should go, oh my God, we cannot really let our players go on obligations because we're spending a lot of money. Calafiori, 39 million pounds. Gyokeres, maybe 70 million pounds. Marino, 15 million pounds. And that's the end of it. Maybe one winger as well. So I think these are very good deals, right? These are very, very good deals. So Arsenal are planning to bid on Victor Gyokeres. We are also sending in a bid on Mikel Merino. But very importantly, in terms of outgoings, looks like deals are happening quicker and faster. Reece, if Arsenal agree with Leicester, I think he will agree to go to Leicester City, really. So Reece could go to Leicester. ESR is, of course, still on his way out. And Nketiah is getting closer and closer to leaving Arsenal.